You ready, Chris?
You ready, Ben?
Let's get it.
Man, let's get it, man. Welcome to the Follow Then Lead podcast.
Yeah, so at some point in time, in my teenage years, I was under the impression that being a man was like how hard you are, right? So how hard can you punch somebody in the face? That's what a man is, right? That's not really what a man is, bro. That's what a man that is trying to go to jail is. That's what that is. That's a broke man. That's a great way to stay broke.
100%.
You know what I mean? So as I've gotten older, I've realized that manhood is literally someone that can handle their business, solve problems, is willing to find a way to solve the problem, even, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying that they actually have to solve it, but is willing to problem solve, and operates with enough integrity and some type of moral compass. And the reason why I say enough integrity and some type of moral compass is because there's no perfect person, right? So you can, but at the very least, people should be able to say he's a decent human being, like he's a decent person. I don't think he would do X, Y, Z. You know what I mean? Yeah. At the very least, people gotta be able to say, this is a person I could go into business with based on integrity, right? So to me, that's what manhood is someone that can handle their business no matter what arena we're discussing, right? And is willing to problem solve. That's what it is. Yeah. It's not how tough you are. If that's a requirement to solve a problem at the time, then you should be, right?
Yeah.
And specifically for manhood as well, I think that even though I'm saying that, I think manhood is embracing your masculinity as well. I think that I feel like the past 5-6 years, there's been this like
attack.
There's just been this feeling that if you embrace your masculinity at all, that it's a problem for everyone else, right? That isn't a man, that is toxic. It doesn't have to be like that. I think that there are just men that are toxic, but that doesn't mean that what they're doing is masculine or part of manhood or part of being men. You see what I'm saying? I think that it's people are applying what that negative thing they're doing is to being a man. That's just can I say the S word? That's just a shitty person.
Yeah.
that person's just a shitty person. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with, so that's why I can't stand the word toxic masculinity, because what you're describing is a toxic person who just so happened at the time of displaying the toxic nature, his toxic nature so happens to be a man. That's it. You know what I mean? So, but you can't apply it to all things that are masculine. You can't apply it to manhood. You know what I mean? So that's what manhood is: embracing your masculinity, handling your business, problem solving, or being willing to problem solve.
I like that.
You know what I mean?
And I appreciate that breaking down the toxic masculinity, because I think, it's if all men weren't men,
right?
Would we be good in society? Right? Would the women be happy?
Right.
Would people that have a lifestyle that might be different, would they be happy? You know what I mean? If
Right.
men are not like
Right.
masculine.
Right.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
so like, for example, like if we didn't have the idea of like the alpha male or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Would society just be a better place for that? Is that what you're asking?
That's basically what I'm asking,
Yeah.
because it's like, if you're saying that any like representation of masculinity,
Yeah.
that's toxic.
Right.
So then what you're saying is you don't want masculine men. So
Right.
You don't.
But do you see where I'm going with this? Like, so for me, that's a misappropriation, right? Like, I
Right.
don't think that it should ever be called toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Take the masculine part out of it.
Yeah.
That person is displaying toxic behavior for that person.
100%.
He just so happens to be a man being toxic. There are women that are toxic. I'm not going to invent a word called toxic femininity. That's wild, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, it's, you're a toxic person.
Yeah.
The things that you do in the way and the fashion that you do them is just toxic.
Yeah.
If there's more than one person acting that way, that's just them. They're just toxic people that just so happen to be acting the same way.
Yeah.
I don't think that wanting to be like what they call like a traditional man or whatever, like I don't think any of that stuff is toxic. I think that people can engage in toxic behaviors, but it's just, I just hate the phrase, bro. It's just like, it makes no sense to me at
cringe.
all. Yeah, because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense at all. It's just like you're literally taking a characteristic from a person that you have an issue with, and you're just like a broad stroke across all men that present themselves as like what, like I don't even know what it is that they.
I think it could say.
I need someone that is into calling people. You know what I mean? Toxic, saying that word to explain that to me. Yeah, maybe that's what I need.
And I think my question was more so like, if you're saying that all men that are masculine are having the toxic behavior, so then on the flip side, you want feminine men, maybe if we were just doing opposites,
right?
So then would that be a better society?
Right.
If that's what you're saying.
I'm
asking them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
I don't see how.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Me neither. I really don't.
I think it took a long time for me to understand, like, and I think what creates that toxic behavior is men not understanding, like, themselves and being guided in like self-control.
So you pretty much almost answered it earlier, right? So when you were describing kind of like your journey, you said that you felt like some of the people you were hanging out with were bringing you down a path that you were like to kind of mirror your father, right?
Yeah.
So they could have been displaying some toxic behavior that women definitely would have perceived as toxic, right?
But at the same time, they're attracted to it.
They are. Well, so
You know what I mean?
here's
In a
the
general
thing.
sense, not
Here's the
all,
thing.
right?
Here's the thing. There's toxic behavior that is being displayed by a man who, at his core, is presenting himself as like an alpha male or whatever, right? So they're attracted to that.
Okay.
They're not necessarily attracted to the toxic part. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's just like a lie that has a little bit of truth in it.
Yeah.
It's confusing. You know what I mean? So it's like the lie's there. That's the toxic part. The truth is just you being masculine. That's what they're attracted to. But I think people then say like, oh, well, that they're attracted to this type of behavior. Nah, they're attracted to the fact that, at your like base, you carry yourself like a man, you know what I mean? But someone they could feel maybe physically safe around, whatever. Or someone that can lead, right?
You're strong, you're assertive.
Exactly.
You know what you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like women, I'm not, I can't say, but I would imagine that most heterosexual women like that type of man. You see what I'm saying? So someone that could lead, someone that is assertive, someone that they could feel safe around, whether it's financially or physically, right? But again, within that, there can be toxic behavior around that person's character.
Yeah.
But don't just call it, but you have to separate the two. That's, you know what I mean? And they're not doing that. So no, I don't think that women are attracted to that.
I'm not. I like to ask questions.
Yeah.
But that was a dope answer.
Yeah, I don't think that women are necessarily attracted to that. I think that it's just confusing because it's blended in. You know what I mean?
Truth wrapped
in lies, bro. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like a wolf in sheep's clothing, somewhat, you know.
Yeah. So it's like right. So if you're in terms of that example there, or that analogy, if you're a female wolf or whatever, right, and you want and what you're looking for, you said a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? So if you're a sheep, right, and you're like, okay, yeah, this is a handsome sheep and I want this other sheep or whatever, but it's like you approach him and it's just like, damn, that's a wolf. You know what I mean? Like, nah, bro. Like you're taking you can't say now that all sheep are toxic sheep. You know what I mean? Like, you got to separate the two. It's literally wolves here and sheep here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the two of them can't be together. Like, it was one jerk that decided to put himself in sheep's clothing. That one person decided to do that, or that one animal, that one thing decided to do that. Not all sheep have wolves in them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like to look at it when so it's two things to that, and we'll shift. But there's this guy, Jason Wilson. He has this program called the Cave of Adullam, where he trains.
Cave of Adullam?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a Christian man. He uses, I think, martial arts to raise young men,
right,
and to train young men into being men.
Right.
And he calls it like the lion that's within every man.
Right.
And it's showing young men that it's okay to be the lion, but having control. So then when, we can operate as sheep like Christ in times, but then there's times where we need to be the lion. And I think the toxicity is when it's an uncontrolled lion, you know what I'm saying, moving around, just doing whatever that was shown to him, or taught, or how he thinks he should be.
Yeah.
He's not in control.
Right.
So
and I think a lot of young men, I think maybe even at some point, I thought like that as well, right? So you like uncontrolled lions, there's a lot of them. There's more of them, unfortunately, especially coming from our neighborhoods. Like, there's more of those running around because they're coming from homes that had uncontrolled lions, and they're coming from homes that had uncontrolled lions.
Well, there was no lion there.
Or there was no lion, period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what they were looking to is the uncontrolled lions running around too. You know what I mean?
On the media, the music.
Absolutely.
Movies.
So it's like the level of discipline that's needed to actually embody the correct definition of manhood and what it is to be masculine and what it is to be a man. They don't have that. They no one's there to show them that. You feel me? Like, they're literally just like, think about it, bro. It's music. It's the dudes in your neighborhood, and sometimes it's just a dude that's probably like 3-4 years older than you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it usually is closer.
That's what I'm saying. It's a dude that's 4 years older than you. You like his swag. You feel like, he's bagging shorties or this and that, or shorties are attracted to how he presents himself, so you feel like you gotta follow suit. But that, and I think a lot of that behavior is what ends up being called toxic. And unfortunately, if you exhibit the masculine part that's in there, they want to brush you as that as well. You know what I mean? Even though you have the discipline and you understand the difference between the two. It's sad because it just goes back to like why we need, if not fathers in the home, why mentorship is important. You know what I mean? Like why it's important for young men to see like controlled or disciplined lines.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the word. It's that discipline word to me. I think is the key thing right there. I think like all young kings or whatever. But if you have no discipline, I mean,
you're gonna lose your kingdom.
Yeah, man. Like I mean,
somebody's gonna take it.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy, bro. Like there's been trash kings in the past. You know what I mean? Like that were kings of like three 30-person villages. I mean, you're still calling yourself a king. How much of a king are you? I don't know. You know what I mean? But in order for you to get to the point where you could rule a nation, there's a certain level of discipline. There's a certain level of structure that had to have been built for generations to have gotten you to that point, whether you're born into it or not, right? So it all comes to that word discipline, bro. Yeah.
100%. All right. So can you tell us like who you are after we talked about kind of like your life? Like who are you? You know, at this point in your life.
I think I'm a walking contradiction. I think that's who I am. I think that I'm a person that like I disdain materialism. I disdain materialistic people. But I'll happily walk around with my Gucci knapsack and my Montclair winter coat. You feel me? Like, I am a person that will stay in prayer, like every day, pray to be a better man, but will be quick to do something that is not of God in a second. I mean, given the chance, the opportunity to, and way too willingly. You know what I mean? So, I'm a person that adores his kids and is constantly finding ways to be with them in terms of like taking them to their games, training with them, going out and picking up random days, just bringing them to the beach, ice cream, whatever, rewarding them when they do well in school. But when I get home, it's kind of like, yo, guys, let me just kind of have a moment to myself. You know what I mean? So I'm a walking contradiction, bro. Like I think that's what makes me human. That's what makes me a person that could never have been placed in a box, period. You know what I mean? So where I feel that I lack, I always try to better myself. But I also understand that there's a side of me that's like, I like this toxic part of me. I'm gonna keep it. You know what I mean? So that's if I ever had to explain, or if there was one word or phrase or sentence that says like, "Who are you?" I'm a walking contradiction. You know what I mean? Jay-Z said it. I'm Che Guevara with bling on. I'm complex.
Oh man, that's dope.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, yeah, that's what I am, man. Like,
and I think that's everybody, right? Yeah. Everyone has. It's no one is. What? I don't know the word. There's no one is one thing, right? We all have layers to ourselves.
Yeah.
And like being okay with those layers and understanding who you are is like big into.
Well, like a monolith. So for example, right? So I could have just been like, oh yeah, well I'm a father, you know, I'm a man of God, this and that, blah blah blah. But all those things are true. But where I love God and I stay in prayer, whatever, I can't stand religion.
Yeah.
At all, because I understand too much of like how it was used against my people and stuff like that, right? So it's like at the same time where I can have an argument with someone why I would continue reading the Bible and praying to what they deem to be a white God. I'm the same person that will fight about and argue for anything that is black nationalism and Afrocentric based, right? So it's like, I get it.
But they're not really separate. They're not different things. Like to the core of it.
To
right?
the core of
Yeah,
it.
the core
But
of it,
again, I said to someone that would argue with me as to why you were praising what they call a white Jesus. Although I do not believe that that's a whole different conversation. I don't believe that.
We can have you back. We can talk about that.
I don't believe that that's the case,
It's
but
not.
you know,
It's a lie.
yeah, exactly. But
It's like the Book of Eli.
right.
You ever seen the Book of Eli?
I did. I have watched
And
it.
it was like the guy that wanted the book because he knew if he got this book, he can control the nation.
Right. Absolutely.
He can take the truth,
Yep.
shape it in a way,
Shape it how he wanted it.
and that's what happened.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, you think about just the building of like Catholic churches and Catholicism back in the day, and why the window panes are all have illustrations on them. It's because the people couldn't read, so they had to point to the windows as illustration in terms of what the priest was telling them. You know what I mean? So that wasn't for art, just for the sake of artwork. When you see all those pictures on the window frames and stuff, that was literally to just that they could point and be like, yeah, you know, Adam and Eve, and like it's right there, and then just like, oh, you know what I mean? So because these people literally were going by whatever that person was telling them.
Still are,
right? Still are. But that's what I mean by like, I feel like I look for a lot of information. I try to find clarity in things to make sense as to why I'm deciding to move a certain way. You know what I mean? And even within that, I think that I can contradict a lot of the things that I want to do on this end. But hey, that's why life is worth living.
it is. And so, like, let me add last question for you. So, what is faith like for you?
Right. So I had a conversation with someone probably like right during quarantine. So I want to say like a few months into quarantine that was like you know, do you perceive yourself as like you know, a Christian? You believe in God and this and that, yada yada yada. And I think that person felt that I should be that there was no reason for me to really, because of all the things that are happening, there's no real reason for me to believe in a God necessarily. And if I did, I should be worshiping this way, like maybe like Islam or something that was more based on people of color, right? So here
from
was
what they know.
So this was just like kind of like a convo I was having. It turned into kind of like a debate back and forth. And essentially what I ended up telling them, and this is going back to your question about faith, like what faith means to me, is that I can't tell anyone whether they should worship a God or what God to worship or what faith, religion, or whatever to have, right? All I know is what has worked for me up until the point that I'm speaking, right? I know that when I was like on the train, fucked up, couldn't find a job, like just like was not in a good place. It was those conversations with God that got me through those times. You see what I'm saying? I know that when there were times that I'm just walking down the street for like probably a 2-3 hour walk to get from one destination to another because I just couldn't afford a car at the time. I know those conversations I was having, and maybe I was talking to myself, and when the story's all said and done, I was talking to myself and there was no God or whatever. But what got me through that time period was the conversation I had with God in terms of my faith. So to me, what faith is based in this life, it's a game, bro. We just have to choose something. We're all free to choose something. You just gotta hope that whatever you're choosing will work out for your benefit. For me personally, I feel that based on where I am in my life right now, and based on where I was, and where I was projected to be based on the things that I was doing at the time, whatever I'm doing is working. Whoever I'm talking to is listening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even when there were times where it did not seem that there was anyone listening, it's just, I always understood it as the result of us being here on this earth. That's just the cards we're dealt with. You feel me? So we're not robots. I think we all have free will. So faith to me is you choose what path, what game you want to play, and you play that game. You play it that way. You see what I'm saying? You call how many books you have, you call the books that you think you have, and you play the game that way. That's how I see it. And for me, the way I've played this game, it's worked out for me, bro. So, I don't know.
I mean, I'm 100% with you. You know,
anything that I've ever wanted to manifest or whatever, and that's another thing too, right? I feel like you heard of The Secret.
Yeah,
and you know, people manifesting
the power
things or whatever.
of the law of attraction.
Law of attraction, whatever. It's like just say pray. Just tell people.
But they don't.
That's
they don't
literally
want to.
What it is like.
Yeah,
but it's nothing. Nothing is in those things that have not already been said in the book. So to me, it's worked for me. I'll continue to do those things, and that's what I've passed down to my kids as well. And I hope that whatever they do works for them. You feel me? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. So can, we wrap up, but, tell us about what you do, I know you mentioned it, but like what do you do for work?
Yeah, so
all your hustles.
So my main job, I'm the Associate Director of Research Administration over at Harvard for the Economics Department. So I work with this, specifically, one of the projects I work on is called, the institutes that I work with is Opportunity Insights, where they, it's looking for ways to conduct research on how to provide opportunities to children that are in low opportunity zones, right? So you're looking at, obviously there'll be a lot of kids that look like us, right? But like, how do you, exactly. So like, so what programs can we implement and put into place to ensure these kids' success? Because the theory is that their neighborhood ultimately shapes who they're gonna be as adults in terms of earning income. So based on where you are between the ages, say third grade, no matter what happens after that, the chances of your success would have been capped by who you became by the third grade. You know what I mean? And so there's a bunch of studies and stuff to support and just kind of disprove whatever, but like it's looking at how do you help these families? How do you help these children? What research can we provide to legislators for them to enact certain legislations to ensure that these children are being put in better neighborhoods or whatever, to see if they could, if this theory actually works, like if they will actually excel, right? Aside from that, I do real estate on the side as well, whether it's investing in real estate or actually helping people find homes or whatnot. So it's something that I've always loved and was interested in, and it only made sense for me to get into it because it was either that or just always watching like these home buying shows on HGTV. You know what I mean? Like, it's either I participate or I just watch TV all day. You know what I mean? So I rather participate. And honestly, it's if you just like doing that type of thing anyway, it's easy side money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I just love it to begin with. So it's just easy work. And do the podcast Triple Threat NBA. You can follow us on IG. And we're actually recording tomorrow. Record every Tuesday, and so our episodes come out usually Wednesday morning. Okay. You were on 2 episodes ago, so thank you again for coming through.
Yeah, thank you for having me again. It was dope.
Us. It was definitely a good time. And I think that was actually the first show I was hosting.
Okay.
So that's the new format moving forward. So it's just a vibe right now. So we're excited about how things are gonna progress moving forward. Yeah.
And how can people follow you if they want? Or?
Yeah, at Midnight West on IG or at Triple Threat NBA. And catch me on episode 4 on HBO. Pause with Sam J. Your boy was on episode 4. It was fire.
I haven't watched the show yet.
The show's called Pause with Sam J. It's on HBO Max. So if you got the app or whatever, or if you're subscribed to it, definitely check me out on episode 4. I'm the dude with the locks and the 2 gold chains.
He's probably from that Florida.
Yeah, right. The Florida swag. The 2 gold chains on, the shirt popped open. Yeah.
Man, I appreciate you being on, bro.
No doubt.
I'll definitely plan on buying like a rental property within the next year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll probably would love to work with you and learn.
Dope.
And,
Dope.
I've already started understanding what I need as far as pre-approval and all that.
Yep.
So the biggest thing now is just building my credit up.
Yeah.
So I could probably get one now, but I'd rather wait and let it build. Right.
Yeah, I think people think that their score needs to be like damn near to the 800s. As long as you're above a 700, most people say 690, but above a 700, you could potentially get the lowest rate that's available. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Especially if you don't have, if you have that type of credit score and your debt to income ratio is pretty low, you're good. Yeah,
I really have no debt.
Then that's all you need.
Yeah.
Like as long so then you see then your credit score tends to matter less once it hits above 700. You know what I mean? Once you get around there, you don't have much debt anyways, then you're fine. You're good you're gonna get the lowest rate. You know what I mean? So I think,
man.
Yeah.
I love to learn from you.
That's
pick
dope.
your brain and then
look
out for you too, because it looks out for you in the end, right?
Right.
So it's a mutual beneficial.
Right. So it is funny. I've had clients who, like, towards the end of the process is like, yo, how do we pay you? You know what I mean? It's
already
you don't, man. Like the seller takes care of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They take care of it. So yeah, it's essentially a free service. This is how I look at it. So
not really.
For the buyer, it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the working buyer. With you, it's not, right? Like, because I'm working with you specifically, that's why you're getting paid from the seller.
Right. No.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, so if you're the buyer, for you, it's a free service. If you look.
Oh yeah, because you're not. Yeah.
It's a free
it's not
service
coming out
for
of my
you.
pocket
It's
directly
not,
to you.
Nah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
It's a free service for you. The seller's paying everybody. You know what I mean, to get out of the deal. They're paying their agent, your agent.
Wow.
The attorney, the bank, all of that, like they're paying everybody. Wow. You know what I mean? So, and of course you're, whatever. But yeah, they basically got to come out of pocket. You know what I mean?
Okay,
so,
then.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope they come out of pocket for you.
Right.
In my situation.
Right.
But all right, bro.
Right.
West Cineus at the Triple Threat NBA podcast.
Yes, sir.
And Midnight West on IG.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Until next time, peace.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for listening to the Follow Then Lead podcast. You can reach us on social media at
The email is followthenleadinc@gmail.com, Instagram, Follow Then Lead Podcast, and our Twitter is Follow Then Lead P. Until next time,
take it easy.
word.